What's up, pups? How you guys doing? I'm doing great, thanks for asking. Actually, I'm not doing great. I decided to film this video right now because something else happened in accordance with a situation that happened while I was in Orlando for MegaCon, so I figured I'm gonna do this video because it's a public service announcement about the worst hotel that I have ever stayed in my entire life. Just don't ever stay at the Allure Resort on iDrive. Stay as far away from that hotel as you possibly can. I'm gonna try to remember everything that happened because this place is just horrific. So I wanted to stay at the Ramada, which is on iDrive. I stayed there last year for MegaCon. It was outstanding. It was $40 a night, super cheap, but like a really, really great hotel for the price. But they filled up really quickly. So unfortunately, I had to book the Allure Resort, which was right next door and directly across the street from the Orlando Eye. So you would assume that it's like a really nice hotel. It's not. So Ian and I get there and we're checking in and we stayed for 5 nights. And I think it was about $67 a night, and then after taxes and fees and whatnot, it almost was $500 for the whole stay. So we get there, we check in, they ask if we have any requests, and I say yes, I'd like to stay on the first floor if possible. Second would be like okay, but I want to stay as low to the floor as possible. And Ian didn't really understand why I wanted that, but after working at MegaCon on your feet all day, the last thing you want to do is have to wait for an elevator to go up a million stories. It's so much easier to just walk right into your room. So they accommodated that and we had a first floor room. So we go to the room and Ian puts the key card in and it opens the door and there are people inside of the room. So Ian quickly slams the door and says, okay, that room had people in it. And I said, what, like people still in it? And he said, yeah. So we took all of our stuff, I stood outside with it, and Ian went back to the front desk and said, hey, you guys definitely booked us in a room that's already taken, so yeah. And they didn't apologize. She literally just said, oh, okay, and booked a new room, and it happened to be the room right across from that one, so it was still on the first floor. So we go to that room, and we walk in, and it smells like someone lit a million cigarettes in the room. I don't remember if I saved my Snapchats, but I Snapchatted about it and I talked about how the room smelled horrible and I didn't understand why it smelled like cigarettes. So I called the front desk and I said, hey, I'm sorry, I think you guys might have accidentally put us in a smoking room. And the woman said, we don't have any smoking rooms. So I said, okay, not sure why then, but my room smells like someone lit a million cigarettes in here. I can't stay in this room. I can't breathe. It's not going to work for the weekend. And so she said, well, I guess if you want, you can just come to the front desk and we'll give you a new room. Guess I will. Like, what is that? What is that? So Ian goes back to the front desk to get a new room. He's gone for about 15 minutes and then comes back and says, okay, we have a new room. It's on the 7th floor. That is the top floor. Literally, the one request that I had was to be on the bottom floor, and they put us on the top floor. So, whatever. At that point, I just wanted to get to a room. It was like 45 minutes into us dealing with this whole debacle. We go to the elevators, and there's 2 elevators for the whole building, and one of them is shut down. Making weird noises, just not working, awesome. And there's a sign next to the elevator that says a maximum of 7 people per elevator, which is already kind of questionable in itself. So we wait a few minutes, the elevator comes, it takes us to the 7th floor. It was super janky and scary. And there's more on that elevator in a few minutes. So we get to the 7th floor, we go into our room, everything seems great, and then I notice they booked us in a room that's 2 full beds when I specifically online requested 2 queen beds because it was Ian and myself and Rolly staying in the room. So I wanted to have queen beds because who realistically can sleep comfortably in 2 full beds? So the beds are fulls and I call and they said there was just nothing they could do. They're like, sorry, there's nothing we can do. Which didn't make any sense because the cigarette room was definitely 2 queens, so I don't, whatever. Oh, and by the way, her excuse for the room smelling like cigarettes was that the smoking area in front of the hotel was outside of the window. I don't see how that makes any sense, but whatever. First, we noticed that the beds are super lumpy. We sat on it. It was the hardest bed that I've ever sat on in my life. So that was problem number 1. Problem number 2, there were no towels and there was like 1 roll of toilet paper. That's an issue because there was 3 of us in the room and we needed towels and toilet paper, so yeah. So Rolly gets there later that night and we all slept for the night and it was just the worst experience because the beds were so hard and bad. So the next morning we had to wake up very early and go to MegaCon for the first day to set up. So I called the housekeeping phone number, after, by the way, the phone not working, and I had to plug it in myself, which was weird. Like the phone was just all disconnected, like from the wall and the phone itself. Very bizarre. So I plug it back in, I call housekeeping, it's going to like a dead number, like it's that dead dial tone sound. So I called the front desk and I said, "Hi, I'm trying to call housekeeping. I'm not getting through. I need to let them know that we need extra towels and toilet paper." So the woman at the front desk, mind you, is the same woman that answered when I called about the cigarettes. Her name is Christina. I will never forget that because she was so rude. And she said, "Yeah, the housekeepers aren't here yet." I said, "Okay, great. So can you please make note that when they get here, I need extra towels and extra toilet paper for my room?" "Well, no, they're not here, so I can't tell them that." "Great. Like I said, can you just make a note and give it to the housekeeper? I'm leaving the hotel room. I don't know when they're gonna be here, but I'm leaving now, so I can't call you again." And so she interrupts me and says, "Yeah, we can't do that. You can just come down to the front and get them yourself." And I said, "Okay, great, but I'm leaving, so I can't come down there. Like, I'm leaving the hotel room for the day. I won't be back. I need this." And so she said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you," and hung up on me. Cool. Great customer service. We go for the day. We come back. No extra toilet paper or towels. That's a thing. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there are so many things. So that we also tried to go down, before I called about the toilet paper and towels, we tried to go downstairs and get continental breakfast because I wanted to book a place that had continental breakfast so that we wouldn't have to stop on our way to MegaCon every morning. We could just eat at the hotel and go. So after trying to locate it for about 10 minutes, we find out it's at the janky pool that's shut down. So we go into this weird pool house thing, and the continental breakfast that was being offered was a bag of bread, and you had to pull out your bread, and there was like 2 toasters and some terrible looking coffee. So their continental breakfast was toast that you had to like make yourself, which that's not even the problem I have with it. It was just that they took like bags of bread and put them on the table and basically like said, "Here you go, here's your continental breakfast." So we didn't eat that. We also tried to go eat like the paid breakfast that they had in like the hotel like restaurant thing. That looked horrible, so we didn't do that either. So we leave for the day and we come back, and when we come back that night, I was getting into the bed like you do, and noticed that I hadn't noticed the night before, but there were blood stains all inside the sheets. And it wasn't even like I like had a nosebleed or something and like woke up and that, no, it was like bloods, like you pulled the sheet back and there were just bloods, like blood spots all over the sheets, like dried blood that had been there for a while. Like it was almost like they didn't even wash the sheets previously. Like oh god, it grosses me out thinking about it. We tried to call the front desk, and again we were told housekeeping's not in, so there's nothing we can do. Like they wouldn't even like offer us new sheets, like nothing. It was disgusting. So for the rest of the nights that we were there, I would check the sheets every time and there would still be the same bloody sheets. So I just started not sleeping under the sheets. Like I was sleeping on top of the bed sheet because I refused to sleep under bloody sheets. And I took photos and videos of all this stuff, by the way. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, why didn't we just walk downstairs and get it? The management was never there when we were at the hotel, and housekeeping was apparently never there either, because we were gone from the hotel itself from 7 a.m. every morning, and we didn't get back until about 8:30, and by 8:30 we were dropping like our stuff off and changing for the day and then going to eat, coming back to the hotel around like 10:30, 11 and going to bed and doing it again, because MegaCon is a full day thing, so we were just never in the hotel when management or housekeeping were there. So then the elevator that the only working elevator, because there were 2, remember, and one was shut down, the other working elevator shut down. So then we had to start taking the stairs from the 7th floor. That sucked. We had to do that many times. And then the one time that we did wait for the elevator, it took 15 minutes, and by the time it got up to us, there were no working buttons in the elevator to know if it was going up or down when it got to your floor. So it got to the point where people on the 2nd or 3rd floor were jumping in the elevator thinking it was going down, but it was really going up. So by the time it got up to us, it was chock full, and we just couldn't get on it because it was full of people going back down. Oh god, it's like infuriating. So
It's already been at least 3 minutes before I started recording this.
So the sheets thing was insane. Like, that was just disgusting. They also charged Ian an additional $80 on his credit card. Not sure why. That was weird. We're working with a dispute process for all of that right now. Oh, and then the last day that we were there, I called Booking.com and filed a whole dispute complaint because I have photos and video evidence and all this crazy stuff for the whole trip. And so we're letting them know everything. So then we look over into the corner. While I'm on the phone with Booking.com, there is a stack of dirty sheets. Not our sheets. It wasn't like they took off the bloody sheets because they're still on my bed. There's a stack of dirty sheets that housekeeping must have left in our room when they did come in to like make the bed. And the dirty sheets were just from other people's rooms. It was just a stack of them in the corner. And we almost didn't even notice, but I look over and I'm like, wait, that's none of my stuff. Like, what is that? And then the most bizarre situation happened. I'm gonna put in like the little video clip right here because it's so weird. When we got back to our room on my birthday, which was Sunday, May 28th, we got back to my room. We were gonna change to go to my birthday dinner. And so we're in the room and suddenly we hear the door open. And my first thought is that now they've overbooked my room. And so these are just people coming in because it's like late. It's like almost 8 o'clock. So Ian and myself and Rolly all say, someone's in here. Like someone's in here. And we hear someone go, okay. And I'm thinking that was sign for them to like not come in and go away. No, it was a housekeeper. And she came into our room even after we said someone's in here, and she walked into the bathroom and started cleaning at like 8 o'clock at night. I don't understand. So I got that on video, like after she had already walked in, and then Rolly and Ian and I were sitting there like, is this really happening? So I filmed it while she was in the room, like the last part of it, because it occurred to me, I'm like, I should be filming this.
Was that for real? Like that really just happened?
That literally just happened.
She just walked in here.
I thought they were supposed to knock. It's fine.
I don't understand.
So that was really bizarre, and I kept saying, I'm like, what if Ian and I had been like having sex? What if I had been changing my clothes? What if Rolly had been in the bathroom going to, like, there are so many scenarios that could have been horrible for what transpired. I've never in my entire life, having stayed at any hotel, had someone walk into my room. I've never been treated like this ever. Like, it was just the most surreal, bizarrely terrible experience that I've ever had. And so then we find out also that Allure is also associated with the Avanti resort that are like right down the street from each other, and Avanti is the hotel that burned down like a year ago. I don't know. I will never stay there again. And I'm doing everything in my power to report them not only to Booking.com, I'm leaving Yelp reviews, I'm calling the hotel, not that they care because management doesn't seem to give any shits and the workers don't give any shits. Like when we went there, they were all dressed in like street clothes, like tattoos out, just didn't even care. We'd go into like the hotel, there was like a little convenience shop in the hotel, and we'd go in there and like the guy behind the counter would be blasting like Spanish music or like some sort of like reggaeton music and just ignore us, and I'd have to be like, yeah, we're ready to check out. The whole experience was terrible. Well, then like 10 minutes ago, I went to look for my vlogging camera because I wanted to film a video for you guys tonight about like my hair routine, like when my hair is dyed, like how I take care of it. And I looked all throughout my house. I looked in my bags, dressers, like drawers, everywhere. I left my charger and my battery for my camera in the hotel room, and I remember exactly where it was plugged in, and I'm so angry at myself for leaving it because the battery itself was like $60, the charger's like $40, so it's $100 worth of camera product that I just left in the room. And I called the hotel and I said, hi, I stayed in this room and I need you to check lost and found because I left it there, like 100% it's there, I need it. So they put me on hold, and after 20 minutes of being on hold, I put that call on hold, called the hotel back on another line on my phone, and the guy answers, the same guy, and I go, hi, yeah, you've had me on hold for like 22 minutes, what's up? I asked you about my camera charger, and his response is, oh yeah, they couldn't find it. Well, no, it's there. Like, it's there. I remember exactly where it was plugged in. I can tell you exactly the spot that it was in. I know that I didn't grab it because I forgot it was there. They had like these plugs on the side of the desks, so it wasn't like plugged into a wall. I had plugged it on the side of the desk, and I know I forgot it there because I couldn't see it once it was under the flap. I know it's there. And the guy goes, yeah, it's not there. And I'm like, okay, well, I need you to talk to housekeeping because then someone took it, because it is there. Like, it didn't just disappear, dude. Like, it's there. And he goes, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. And that's all he said. And I just was like, great, well, this is just more ammunition to use against you when I report you to the Better Business Bureau because your customer service is as good as your hotel. And he goes, great, and then just hung up on me. So, basically, I hate that hotel. I hate the workers. They don't care. Their customer service is horrible. The management is horrible. I didn't deal with one kind person the whole weekend. Like, it's just, the whole thing was so surreal. It makes me want to cry because I'm like so frustrated because it's the worst experience that I've ever had. And believe me, before you comment it, Ian and I, after that first night when they screwed up our room 3 times, we wanted to literally, we were about to say, you know what, we're gonna like dispute this with the credit card company because we're not staying here, let's go to a different hotel on iDrive, no big deal. Everything was sold out for MegaCon. So we literally had no other place to go. It would have taken us further away from the convention center, and it's just the worst. It was the worst. The worst. In the words of John Ralphio, I'm trying to make light of this situation, but honestly, you guys, it was so bad. And I can't stress to you, because I know a lot of you guys watch my videos, and you watch them because you go to Orlando, and you know that I'm friends with Tim and Jen, and I implore you to never stay at Allure or Avanti Resort. And I'm including Avanti because they're the same company. They own both of those resorts. Do not stay at Allure Resort. It's the worst hotel ever. I will scream it from the rooftops for the rest of my life. I will never stay there again. Do not waste your money. Anyway, you guys, I'm sorry for like going off on this like extreme tangent. I'm sure there are things that I'm even forgetting about our time there because I was on the phone with Booking.com for an hour telling them all of the things that we experienced at that hotel. It was unreal. Just one thing after another. One thing after another. Anyway, you guys, I love you very much. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll make some ad revenue off of this video, and then it's like I didn't spend all of that $500 to stay at the worst shithole hotel ever. Oh my god. Check this out. I just noticed that I have a guy here. Hi. Hey guy. Thanks for joining this party. Yeah, I'm gonna go get dressed now so I can run some errands even though it's raining. Anyway, you guys, if this is the first video that you're seeing of mine, hi, I'm Kayleigh. You should subscribe by hitting that red button right down below, and we can become best friends forever. Links to my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are also down below. I'll see you guys in a few days with another video. Bye, everyone.